Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon from this side of the world, from the city of Port Harcourt in Rivers State, Nigeria. Good afternoon, good morning if you're on the other side of the world. Good evening also if you're at the other end of the world. Welcome this afternoon, this lovely day, this day that the Lord has made. Yes, we will rejoice and we will be glad in this day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, who is here with me? Who is ready to go on this journey of growth once again? This is Growth Habits with Ngozi Onwucheloba, and I am your personal guide in this journey of growth. Your personal guide. I will take you by the hand and lead you, show you the way, introduce you to all the steps, basically, the things that are needed for you to grow. So welcome to Growth Habits. If you come in, please let me know that you are here and let me know where you are joining me from this glorious afternoon. If you're also on the replay, you're joining on the replay, you decided to watch us on the replay, I welcome you. I welcome you to Growth Habits with Ngozi Onwucheloba every Tuesday and every Thursday in the month of February, right here on Facebook Live by 12 noon. Yes, so we're here again and we have a bit to discuss today, not too much. Today is an interesting day for me. It's really an interesting day. So I will not really talk much. Today. So please, if you're here, let me know. If you're here with me, let me know that I'm not talking to myself. Yes, so we've been on this journey for a while. This is the 7th session of Growth Habits. Wow, really, 7. We've come a long way. It looked like a joke when we started. It was like, can I do it? Will I be able to? But here we are, 7th session of Growth Habits, and we started with a general discussion of what is growth. That was our first session, and we learned that growth is a journey, it's a process. It's not something that you do, once. It's a process. For that break in transmission, I really don't know what happened, but somehow something cut us off for a second. So yes, I was talking about how far we have come on this journey, how far we have come, the things that we have gone through, the things that we have discussed. And I mentioned that we discussed on the first day that growth is a process. And on the second day, we talked about the mindset that is needed for growth. The third session, we talked about our habits, the habits that we need to employ, the habits we need to put in place for us to grow. The fourth day, we talked about our circle of friends and how they can help us along this journey and how they will help us achieve the things we need to achieve. On the fifth session, we talked about measuring growth and being able to understand yourself and know, where you are and where you want to be. And the last time we talked about balancing inputs and outputs, and we concentrated on the idea of rest, of being able to rest and not, putting out there and putting out there and putting out there and not taking in some replenishment. So those are the things we have talked about in our 6 previous sessions. And today on this 7th session, we are going to talk about coming out of your comfort zone, getting out of your comfort zone. And as I said, today is an interesting day for me. Yeah. I didn't even know I was going to do this session today. I had thought to just cancel it and postpone it to another day. I had thought that I wasn't in the right frame of mind to do this session today, but here we are. Because life happens and we have to move on. We have to take of life what we see and move on. We have to take of life what has happened and move on. There are some things we can change, there are some things we cannot change in this life, but we move on. We move on. As long as we're alive, we have to choose, because it is truly a choice. It is truly a choice to move on. Something happened to me yesterday that made me think that today I wouldn't be able to do this session. Yesterday morning, I lost a very, very close friend, a very dear friend, and for reasons of maybe some people that don't know yet, family members that should not know yet, I will not mention the name. I will try to keep the details to the barest minimum. But I lost a very, very good friend, and it hit me hard. And today we're talking about coming out of our comfort zone. So doing this session today is me, Ngozi, jumping out of my comfort zone. This is not even just taking a step out. This is a complete leap out of my comfort zone for me. Because I'm a very reserved person generally, and I keep things to myself. I process things internally. I don't most times bring out emotions. Yes, I tend to keep things inside and I process them inside, and then I come out. So it usually gives me this facade of superwoman. People think, a lot of people have even asked me, do you have emotions? Do you feel? Yes, but I do feel, and I do. I have a way of processing it, but as I said, I lost someone yesterday that hit me on different levels, because this person was really, really close to me, really special to me. In November 2021, I lost my dad, and it hit me. Truly, I was pained. But the Ngozi, I internalized everything. I even tried not to cry. Well, that one was basically because I didn't want my mom to cry. I was trying to hold her, be strong for her. So I, kept all my emotions and all that. But until the day I had to write his tribute, everything came pouring out. But that is not where I'm going with this story this afternoon. This lady that I'm talking about that died yesterday was there for me during that time in a way I didn't expect, even in a way I didn't know I needed. Because that is one thing. It's one thing to know you need help, and another thing to need help and not know it. So I didn't know I needed the help she offered me. I really did not know. When we were thinking of going for the service of songs for my dad, she came up to me. She on her own called me, and she was like, Ngozi, when are you going for your father's service of songs? I told her the day I was planning to leave Port Harcourt, and the next question she asked me was, who is going with you? And in my mind, I don't need anybody to go with me. Service of songs. It's the burial I need people. It's service of songs, and we're not doing the service of songs in a big way or anything. It's just a small thing, so I don't need anybody. The next words she said to me, she said, Ngozi, you need somebody. I will go with you. And note, this service of songs was on a working day. So this lady took permission from her office and traveled with me to Owerri for my father's service of songs. And honestly, it touched me, because nobody, I don't think anybody else around me thought that I would need somebody. Even me, I didn't think I needed somebody. I really didn't think so. But by the time she was there, she was just there, because really there was not work to do during that service or something, but she was just there. And her presence was everything. It was everything for me. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't know I needed it until that day. And when the time for the funeral came, this same lady traveled a few days before that funeral and stayed with me in my village. And on the day, the very day of the funeral, the day before, she comes up to me and she goes, "Who will be with you during this funeral? You know, you are the first daughter. You know, you will have a lot of, you'll be running from here to there, doing this and that, attending to everybody. Who will be with you? Who will stand with you? And when people give you, like, you know, somebody gives you condolence envelope, who will you give it to? What is your plan?" And truly, before she said this, I didn't think about those things. My brain was not functioning to that extent. So when I was like, oh, I didn't really think about that, she was like, okay, I'll do it for you. And this lady is my senior, but she's my friend. She followed me around throughout that funeral. Those that came for my dad's funeral probably know her, or will remember her face, if nothing else. She followed me around, and she was just there. My mom took note of her. My mom was like, "Who is this lady?" My brothers' wives were like, "Wow, this is your friend, you know?" And she was there for me. So when the news yesterday came of her demise, first of all, I said no. I went straight up into denial. I said, nope, can't happen, not on my watch, can't happen. Took off, drove down to where they were, began to pray. As I was leaving my house, I knew in my heart, honestly, that if I get there, touch her, she's waking up. There is no way I'm going to get to that place, touch her, she doesn't get up. Can't happen. That was the mind with which I left my house. And I got to the place and saw her lying in the car, and I began to pray. You know, touched her, made sure there's connection between my hands, my body, on my hand and her body, and I prayed. And I think about 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, nothing. And finally, the family decided to put her body in the mortuary, and that was that. And I'm telling us this today because, like I said, this is me jumping out of my comfort zone. I don't do things like this. I don't process things like this. I don't mourn. Let me use that. I don't even want to use the expression truly like this. I don't talk about my feelings. I really don't. My children will tell you. My children will tell you, they're like, what do you mean you don't? What do you mean you didn't think about this? I truly do not process my feelings out. I process it inside, and I'm good, and I move on. But as I woke up this morning thinking about, I have a live session today. How am I going to do this live session? What is even the topic that I'm supposed to discuss today? Because throughout yesterday, I didn't look at my notes. I didn't look at anything. And I opened up the topic, and it's get out of your comfort zone. And I was like, okay, if there ever was a message from heaven, this is one. This is one. So I decided that I would come up and still go ahead and do this live session, but I would take the time mostly to talk about the need truly for us to come out of our comfort zones. Whatever the comfort zone might be for you, that place that you're comfortable because there is no challenge, there is nothing, shifting, there are no moving parts, that place that you are okay there, you're just comfortable there, there's no new things happening, there are no challenges, there are no issues per se. There's really, in that place you are good. I don't know if we get what I am saying this morning. In that place you are good. And generally, growth doesn't happen there. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone at all. It does not. It cannot. Not just that it does not. It cannot. When you plant a seed into the ground, before the shoot will come out from the ground, there's some agitation. There's, that struggle to try and come out, to try and bring out the shoot. It doesn't just jump out. No. So for growth to really happen, you truly have to come out of your comfort zone. And most times what drives us to remain in our comfort zone is fear of the unknown. We don't know what will happen. We don't know how others will take us coming out. We don't know how others will perceive it. And this fear keeps us in the place of stagnation. And before we know it, we perish there. We actually die in that place of stagnation. We die in that place of that comfort, that place of comfort. And we don't take the step out. So like I said, this is me deciding to choose life instead of death. This is me deciding to choose joy instead of mourning. This is me deciding to choose to remember my friend as she was to me, a friend, a true friend. This is me deciding to move on and not forget. Because I cannot forget. If it's to forget, it's not possible. But I choose to move on. After the death of my dad, there was another death of somewhere close to me that also just threw me, honestly. Because, in fact, my mom was even like, who is this person you're crying like this for, that he died? He was a friend's husband this time around. And, there's something we do. We tell people not to question God. I'm not saying we should question God in a bad way now, but we tell people not to question God. We even tell them not to cry when things happen. But I've come to see that place of not allowing people to mourn doesn't help. We need to be able to cry it out if you want. Shout it out if that's what, you need to do, and then decide to step into the light and not remain in the darkness. Decide to step into the light and not remain in the darkness. It's a decision. It's a decision we have to take. And it's part of coming out of our comfort zone. Now, for me, the comfort zone for me today that I'm talking about personally is in internalizing what is happening to me, in not being able to say out what is happening to me, not being able to discuss with another person really, truly how I'm feeling and internalizing it. And a lot of times, yes, I discuss it with God. I choose to discuss with God and not with any other human being, yes, but many times we do need to step out of that feels comfortable. We need to step out of that we are used to and step into the light. Because see, that place of comfort, that comfort zone that we like to stay in, usually there's not much light in there. Usually. Because the light itself that was there is now stale. Because we've been there for so long. the light that was shining in that place of comfort before, when you entered it. Because usually by the time we go into our comfort zone, to that place where we are, okay, whether that's the word, honestly, words are failing me so much this day. But when we initially go into our shell, because really the comfort zone is you going inside your shell, is you moving into your shell and closing the door so that nothing else truly can come in. And when we initially go into that place, there is some light there, because we are okay, we feel better, we are good. If we were upset, we feel better. If we are grieving, we get some level of comfort. But you can't remain there forever. You can't stay there forever. Even the children of Israel, God had to tell them, you have been on this mountain for too long. Move forward. So what is that place that you are in? What is that part of your life that you have closed out or closed in because of fear? Because of fear of tomorrow, because of fear of what will happen, because of fear of how will people see me. Another area that basically jumped out of my comfort zone was doing this whole live session in the first place. I'm not afraid to speak to people, and it's such a strange thing, honestly, such a strange thing. For somebody that is quiet and reserved, I am comfortable speaking to people in crowds when I don't have to have one-on-one. It's when I have to talk to you one-on-one that's I become like, I don't have anything to say. Let me not even try. But when I have to maybe stand and speak to a crowd, I have no problem with that. I can do that comfortably. But for some reason, coming out on social media like this and talking on something that maybe I think I know about or have experienced has been so difficult for me. But one day, I took the bull by the horn, as they say, and here I am doing 7 sessions now. And the second area, as I said, is coming out to say I am hurt. This was a painful experience. This thing that happened, I am going through hard things in my heart, in my mind. Wondering, I've asked God questions. So please bear with me. Allow me today to rant this rant. I have asked God questions because I'm like, this makes no sense. What happened to this lady makes no sense. It's not that she's old. It's not that she had accomplished all that she came to this earth to accomplish. In fact, we still had a project we were working on. It was just, conflict of schedules that made us, we've not met, sat down to put the things together. So it's not that she had finished all that she came to do. But in the midst of all the questions that I have in my heart, even till now as I'm talking, some questions are still running around in my head. In the midst of those questions, I decided to choose light. I decided to choose to step out into the light and not close up and not steam in and not keep it inside and not brood on it. Because the more we brood on these things, the worse they actually become. So, what is keeping you in your comfort zone? What is that thing that's making you stay where you are and not launch out to the next level, to the next place that you need to be in life? What is making you not do that next thing that you need to do? What is keeping you down in your comfort zone? Is it fear? Are you afraid that people will say whatever? That they will say you don't know what you're talking about, that they will say you don't understand this thing, whatever it may be, that they will say, who is this one? Or Even as I'm talking now, that they will say, why is she sharing her emotions? Do we care? Is that what is keeping you from stepping out, from doing what you need to do? You can overcome that fear. See, one thing about fear, once you take a little step, just tiny step away from that thing that you're afraid of, the fear disappears. Once you shine a little light in the midst of that darkness, the darkness goes away. So if it's fear that's holding you back, just find the smallest of steps, the smallest of activities that counters the fear. Take it, do it. Just step out, do it. Is it that, I think the greatest one is fear, but sometimes also our mind, the way we think that, oh, I can't do this thing, I just can't. Let me stay where I know. This is what I know. Let me stay here. But you see, when you take that little step, is it to go and do that course? Please just do it. Do, okay, let's assume the course is a course. Oh, okay. I don't know what is happening. The network kind of went off for a second, so I apologize for that. So as I was saying, is there a course you need to take? Just do it. In fact, go and read the summary of that course you want to take. Find the summary, just go through it. Do the first part of the course. Do something. Don't just sit in that place of ease. Take a step out. You don't need to take a leap. Many times we tell people, take a leap of faith. You don't need to take a leap of faith. You just need to take a step of faith. Just one step. Don't even have to be with the two legs. Just one is enough. Just go ahead. Take that step. Do that thing you've always wanted to do. Just do it. You've always wanted to travel. Begin to research. Where can I go? Research. Find it. Look for it. Just see, when you take the first step, even if it's just that step of researching, the other steps become easier. So take that first step. Look for that thing you want to do and just do it. Just do it. Like I said, this is me choosing to step out into the light. Choosing for once to say what is happening inside of me out. Choosing for once to process my emotions differently. Because all these years I've been processing it the same way. I've been internalizing, keeping it in. And it has helped, but it has also hurt in some ways. So let me try this way. Let me try and speak out. Let me try and say how it's doing me. If we understand, let me make that attempt. Let me see how it is. Step out of the comfort zone. There is no growth. Nothing grows in the comfort zone. Because you remain stagnant. You're not moving. Stagnant water. Does it breed anything? Is it not death? Is it not mosquitoes that is bred, in stagnant waters? And the mosquito does not stay inside the water, It's only decay that comes from stagnant waters. Nothing good. Unless you change the water. Unless you allow the water to flow. But when the water is flowing, there is life. There is life. So step out of that comfort zone today. Just take that step. Do that thing you have always wanted to do. It doesn't matter what people really think, do you know? Because whether you do it or you don't, people will think something. Whether you do it or you don't, people will think something. There must be someone thinking something. Whether you stay where you are and you refuse to move forward, people will still say. If you move forward, they will still say. So why? Why bother? You see that what they say is not important. It's not even relevant. What is important is between you and your God, what have you decided? What has He said to you? What instructions has He given you? Once you have that, take a step. You know, there's a song Victoria Orenze sang, and the song says, I get back, the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, all of them join. I get back in. So don't be afraid. Don't be bothered about what will happen, the consequences. Well, consequences is not the right word, no. About, what will people say? Is that aspect of it. Because that is what normally keeps us back. What will people say? Fear of others. Fear of the unknown. But you see, that unknown, that thing that is unknown to you, is known to God. It's not unknown to Him. He knows it. He knows that place you are going. He knows the end of that journey. He has seen it. So for Him, it's not unknown. So lean on that His knowledge, that His knowing. Lean into it. Enjoy it. And step out. And step out. Don't remain in your comfort zone. Nothing grows there. Stagnant waters, they don't breed anything good. Never. I've not seen where stagnant waters brought about anything good. For people that have like fisheries, they have to keep changing the water because it gets polluted, because the water is stagnant, it's in one place. They have to change out the water and bring in fresh water. So clearly, nothing grows in the comfort zone. Nothing. So just step out. Take the decision. Step out. Like I said, I've chosen. I've decided my own. I've decided to shine a light in the midst of the dark that is threatening, because it is threatening to overtake me. I've decided to shine a light in it. I've chosen today to live. I've chosen, and when I say to live, I mean to experience life, not just that I'm living. I've chosen today to step out. I've chosen today to shine a light where there was darkness. I've chosen today to make a move that ordinarily I would not have made. I've made that decision. And I ask you to do same, because nothing grows. Nothing prospers in the comfort zone, in the place of stagnation. Nothing. So if you're listening to me today, like I said, today is quite different. I have notes that I had written some days back on what I will talk about today, but I just felt there was really no need to really go too far into those notes. In fact, I don't even think I've really looked at the notes. Yes, I've looked at the topic from my notes, and I've seen some of the things I wrote there, but really I just decided to share from what is happening with me today, to share from my very heart this afternoon with us, and to encourage us that it doesn't get easier. I can't even promise you that it gets easier, but I do know that it gets better. It gets better. It doesn't get easier at all. Anybody promising you that it gets easier deceives you. doesn't really get easier. The things that are ahead of us are still hard. There are still some tough decisions to make ahead of us as human beings. There are still some tough things to go through. There are still some tough areas to come out of. It's still there. It doesn't get easy. It doesn't get easier, but it gets better. As you shine the light, as you beam that little torchlight into that darkness. You know, once that light hits the darkness, there's no more, you can't call that place dark anymore. Because light has come in, no matter how small. So this is me encouraging you this day. Just take that step. Do that thing. Whatever it is for you, it could be different. It might not be come out on Facebook and talk like I am doing. It might not be that for you. But whatever it is, go ahead and take that step of faith. As you take the first step, the second one becomes easier. As you take the second one, the third one becomes easier. And before you know it, you're not just walking, you're running. Before you know it, you're not just running, you're flying, you're soaring. So, get out. If I run out of your comfort zone today, take that step and do the needful. Thank you. Thank you very, very much for joining me today. Thank you. Me today. This is Growth Habits with Ngozi Onwuchuluba, and I am your personal guide in the journey of growth. See you next week, Tuesday, right here on Facebook, 12 noon, as we continue the journey to growth. Thank you, and have a lovely day. You have a lovely, lovely day. Bless.